Hey YouTube, it's Tanya, and I am coming in for what I think is going to be a pretty long update. I have lots of things to talk about, things that have happened since my last video, and different various topics. So I am going to put in the description below the times that I talk about each topic, so that way if you only want to hear about one particular thing, you can just skip ahead or cut it off, whatever. Since my last video, I have done some traveling. My husband and I went to Germany for Oktoberfest, and we had a great time, fantastic time. On the way home, people were coughing like crazy on the plane, and from now on, we'll be wearing a mask on a long trip like that. Because a few days after I got home, I got sick. Upper respiratory, sinus infection, the whole works. I got a couple of shots, a bunch of prescriptions, and I'm feeling better now, but if I have to clear my throat a few times during the video, I apologize. I still have a little bit of drainage going on, so I apologize for that. For anybody who is new to my videos, I am 43. I had vertical sleeve gastrectomy on November 17th, 2011. I was in the 270s. I got down to the 160s in about 9 or 10 months. Maintained there for a couple of years, and at about 3 or 4 years out, I had some regain, about 25 pounds. And in August of 2016, I started the ketogenic diet, which is low carb, less than 20 grams a day, net carbs. High fat and moderate protein. And with that, I lost most of my regain. I didn't lose all of it, but I think some of what retained was due to muscle that I had picked up over the years, and certainly in the last year or so. So when let's see, so that I have notes so that way I don't forget anything. Oh yeah, also something. When we were in Germany, we went to the Dachau concentration camp, and I was so incredibly moved. But I've always been interested in visiting a concentration camp because it's just such a horrific thing that happened. And when we were there, they talked about how the prisoners were only normally fed every 4th day. And so I got it in my head that I wanted to do a 3-day fast in honor of the survivors and the people who didn't survive. Who were at the concentration camp. So last week I did attempt a 3-day fast, and I only got about 24 hours into it, and my blood sugar plummeted. I think it was 48 when I tested it, so I had to cut that fast off. So I'm going to try it again in January, because it's really strange. I've done an over 40, like a 49-hour fast. I think it was the last one I did, and it was perfectly fine. I just stopped because my goal was for a 2-day fast. So that's why I felt confident that I could do a 3-day fast without any problem. So I don't know if it's because I got this illness and I was still on antibiotics, and maybe my system was still a little bit weakened, and that's why I ran into problems. I don't know, but I will attempt it again probably in January, because it is really important to me that I want to do that. So Germany, sick and fasting attempt done. Okay. So yesterday I had to go to my primary care physician to get medical clearance for my arm lift surgery. When I came in my last video, I think I said that my arm lift surgery was going to be on November 17th, which is actually my 6-year surgery from VSG. But I had to change that because Kirk is coming in town on that day. So I changed it to the 10th. And then my surgeon's office actually wound up calling back and saying that she was going to be out of town on the 10th. So it got moved up to the 3rd, which is a week from Friday. So it is really coming up on us quickly. So I had to get my medical clearance from my PCP just to say that I'm good for surgery. No concerns there. And he didn't have any concerns. We went ahead and ordered my annual blood work, which is, just a metabolic panel and a lipid panel. And I've been really super interested in what the lipid panel was going to say because of keto. A lot of times when I tell people I'm doing keto, that I'm doing high fat, low carb, moderate protein, the questions are, yeah, but what about your cholesterol? Like, what are you doing your cholesterol? And it's a whole thing about the cholesterol myth, that cholesterol hasn't really been proven to be a factor in cardiac disease or the cause of cardiac disease. There's a whole slew of videos and information and research that you can go look at on cholesterol. And I will actually put a link to a guy I've been watching. I don't have his name in front of me. but his most recent video on how he's kind of cracking the cholesterol testing weaknesses, I guess you could say. But that's a whole other topic. Um, I'm just looking at my notes so I don't forget anything. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to show my blood work results in just a second. But I have on there my blood work that I had done several months before I started keto. And then I had blood work done, my normal annual blood work, about 3 months after I started keto. And whenever you start keto, they say your cholesterol is going to go up, because it's like your liver is flushing out all this cholesterol that it's just pumping new things into your system. So it went up, and that I expected it. But my triglycerides were still really good, so I really wasn't that concerned about it. And then in the last year, learning about all these things, how cholesterol isn't really a bad thing, I was even more less concerned. But I was anxious to see at this, I'm at 14 months now with doing keto, what was my cholesterol going to look like? Was it going to go up even more? Was it going to stay the same? Was it going to go down? So I got my results yesterday, and I am very, very pleased with those results. So I'll kind of run through what those numbers are. So before starting keto, my cholesterol was 158. My cholesterol has always been low. Even when I was at my very heaviest, it was always like in the 150s, 160s range. So, and that's where it's always been. 3 months after starting keto, it was 225, which isn't horrible, but it was higher for me. Yesterday, it was 217. So about the same, but just a little bit lower. Here's one of the first good thing. My HDL has always been somewhere in the 60s. So before starting keto, it was 68. 3 months after, it was 67. So practically the same. But this time, it was 79. And the HDL, that's the high density. That's the good cholesterol. I have never had my good cholesterol that high ever. So that I'm super excited about that. LDL, so the low density, that's what they call the bad cholesterol. It's not really necessarily good and bad cholesterol, but that's what it is. Before I started, it was 80.4. 3 months in, it jumped up to 148.8. So it was like almost double. So I was kind of like, wow, that's a crazy jump. This time it was down to 130.0. So it's still up from before, but it's gone down significantly. And then my triglycerides, before I started out, they were 48. At 3 months in, they were 46. And this time they were 40. So my triglycerides were already low to begin with, and they've only improved, which is kind of surprising to me. I didn't think they would get any lower than like 46, 48. Somebody actually pointed out that they didn't test the particle sizes for the LDL, and I've asked my doctor previously about testing the particle sizes, because that's more important for the LDL than just the number itself, is how fluffy they are. And he told me I'd have to go to a cardiologist to get that checked, and there's no sense in me doing that. I have no reason to go to a cardiologist, so that's going to remain a mystery, unless I guess I wanted to actually pay for a test myself, which I'm not. So extremely happy. I had a whole discussion with my PCP about cholesterol. He had told me before we saw the results that if my cholesterol was bad, he was going to prescribe a statin, and I told him I would not take it because I am not concerned about cholesterol. And we kind of having a little friendly debate about it, and we basically agreed to disagree. And I said, let's just see what the results are, because there's no sense in us arguing about something that it may not even be an issue for me. And it turned out to not be an issue, and he actually put on my paperwork that my labs were perfect. So I kind of hope that this opens his eyes up to keto being a good thing, like, because one of the things he said is that if you eat a lot of fat, it puts a lot of cholesterol into your arteries, but it's not really true. But okay, anyway, you can investigate the cholesterol myth on your own. So that handles that. The next appointment was with a new rheumatologist. I've had psoriatic arthritis since I'm 15, and I'm 43 now. I've seen the same rheumatologist for the last about 25 years, and he just recently retired, and I had to get a new cardiologist, which it took me 3 months to get an appointment with a new rheumatologist. So yeah, it took a long time to get an appointment. That's the state of medicine in the U.S. now. But I got this appointment. I was actually not sad to change rheumatologists. I actually tried to change a while back, and the person that I saw was actually friends with my rheumatologist at the time and would not accept me as a new patient, sent me back to him. But my old rheumatologist was old school. He did not keep up with modern times. He was very handwritten. I don't know. I never felt like I had cutting edge treatment with him. And so I was looking forward to somebody with more cutting edge treatment. And I do feel like I found that with the lady that I found that I'm going to now. But we had a good discussion. We went through all my history. She took a lot of notes. She sent me for a ton of blood work just to get started, to get a baseline for her. She sent me for x-rays of my hands and feet because that's where I've always had the worst joint damage. And she actually said she thought the damage in my right hand was worse than what it should be for somebody my age. And it is not good. I mean, you can see my fingers are crooked. And so I do inject myself with Enbrel once a week, and I was on a couple of other medications. So she changed up those medications a bit. So I'm happy about that she's kind of taken her own approach to my treatment and not just sticking with what I've been doing forever. So happy about that. She asked me about exercise, and I told her that because I had in my chart that I brought to her that, I had a lot of Achilles pain in the last year. But I told her that I had been better, but that my previous doctor had told me that I should not be doing step aerobics, but that I kept doing it because I like it, and I didn't quit. And she told me not to. She said to keep exercising. That's really good. I told her, she asked me how often I do it. I said I do step aerobics 3 times a week. I do weightlifting at least 2 times a week. So, and she said that's all great. Super happy with that. She said I'm definitely the kind of person that needs to exercise. That exercise is good for my joints. So I really like that because my old doctor told me not to exercise and that it would damage my joints. So, and I never really truly believed it. So of course I did what I wanted to do. So she told me to keep exercising. And then she looked at my information, which I'm assuming was my weight, and turned around and looked me up and down and said, yeah, you're big boned, but you can still stand to lose some more weight. And I had already told her that I was a weight loss surgery patient. I had surgery 6 years ago, and I had lost like 100 pounds. And the fact that she said that kind of like kicked me in the gut. Because it wasn't just saying it based on my number. She actually looked at me and assessed me, and I'm normally very confident. I am very happy with the way I look, and I haven't had a doctor tell me I need to lose weight. My plastic surgeon hasn't told me that. My OB, my PCP, they're all happy with my weight. And so for her to say that, it brought me back to those old fat girl days when you dread going to the doctor because they're going to tell you to lose weight. Like, it's always the go-to. You need to lose weight. And I would say when I was 100 pounds heavier, absolutely, I needed to lose weight. I did. I was on 2 blood pressure medicines. I needed to lose weight. But you don't want to hear that. But to hear that now was a kick in the gut. And, I told her, like, I work hard at it every day. And she's like, she's a very thin person. And she said she understood that. She told me I needed to do low carb. And I told her I keep my carbs less than 20 every day. Which I'm not sure if she totally believed me based on the look on her face. And she told me that I should be doing 12-hour fasting from, nighttime to morning. And I said, I currently do 14 to 16-hour fast, and sometimes I do even longer fast than that. And she kind of looked shocked, and she was like, oh, well, that's your problem. You should be eating breakfast. Breakfast should be your biggest meal of the day. Well, I wasn't going to get into the weight loss surgery aspect, but I couldn't eat a large breakfast, number one, at all, if I wanted to. And I certainly couldn't eat it first thing in the morning. There's no way I could do that. So, hold on, somebody's walking. Okay. So, I just kind of like blew that off and let that go. But still, when I walked out of there, it was a hit to a soft spot. And I was telling my husband last night that I get this, I want to be healthy, and I want to be a healthy 43-year-old woman. I don't want to be a healthy 43-year-old woman just because coming from weight loss surgery, I don't want to be healthy for somebody who had weight loss surgery. I want to be healthy for somebody who was obese. I want to be a healthy woman just for being a woman, a 43-year-old woman. And I got that thought in the back of my mind. It's like, have I been thinking I'm good enough for where I came from, or is it really good? It shook my confidence a little bit. I'm sorry to say. I really am sorry to say. But I am still confident. I am still happy with where I am, and I have done so much research on nutrition and exercise and different biohacking for my own body that I'm pretty confident in the things that I do and I try, and my blood work proves it, my blood pressure proves it, my pulse proves it, my physical ability in my fitness classes proves it. I have tons of stamina. When we were on vacation, we hiked up the side of a mountain to a castle. It was hard. I was huffing and puffing, but I could not have done that 6 years ago. So I am and see, I don't want to discount like coming from where I was coming from, but even if I had been active my whole life, I hope that I would appreciate the amount of activity I can do now. We went on a bike tour. I never even rode a bike up until like maybe 4 months ago, since I was like a little kid. So I need to not let this shake me, but I wanted to put it out there because none of us are untouchable. No matter how successful you feel like you are, like I felt like I was, there's always this little fat girl. And maybe if you never had your whole life where every single time you went to the doctor from the time you were a child until you had surgery, every single time I went to the doctor, my weight was mentioned. So maybe if you never had that and you didn't get heavy until later and you weren't a lifetime fat, you wouldn't have that little fat girl mentality in the back of your head, or fat guy. But her saying that touched that kid inside me that made me question myself. And because I felt like with everything that I've been doing, nothing is ever enough. It's never enough. I don't know how I could possibly give more than what I'm already given. My day-to-day life is very focused on weight and nutrition and fitness and being healthy and trying to get my family to be healthy. And so it's certainly not that I've ignored anything. And the more I thought about it, talking to her, I felt like maybe she had nothing else to suggest. And like an auditor, I'm in accounting. So auditors, I always feel like no matter how good you are, they have to find something to make a suggestion as an improvement. And maybe she felt like she had to make a suggestion for something to make it seem like she was giving to me as a patient. Maybe that's what it was. But part of me too doesn't want to discount what she said. She did say that I should not be eating for 4 hours before going to bed. Well, that's not really realistic for me and my lifestyle, because on Tuesdays and Thursdays when I have step class, I don't even get home until 8 or 8:30. So it would be like I don't eat dinner. And yeah. On the other days, nighttime eating has always been my weakness, and where I get a lot of calories that are probably empty calories. So I am going to work on not eating after a certain time, like maybe on days other than Tuesday and Thursday, not eating after 8 o'clock, which would be about 2 or 3 hours before my bedtime. I think that is a valid suggestion, and I do plan on working on that. But I've been working on that for the last 6 years, so work in progress, constant work in progress. But yeah, I just wanted to say that comments like that can shake anybody, I think, and no matter how confident you are. And it shook me a little bit, but I am shaking it off. So anyway, that's my update. I will be back probably next week when I see my surgeon right before my arm lift surgery. If she marks me up, I'll show those markings. If not, we'll definitely take video the day of, and I'll post. I'm planning on doing updates on the arm lift the same way I did for my tummy tuck. Just there's not a lot of people who are having an arm lift that like the kind I'm having with the extension that goes down. Most people have it to the elbow, but mine isn't going to be like that. Mine's more going to be from the middle of the arm all the way down to the bra line. So I think it might be something valuable to have out there. Sorry for a 20-minute video. I had a lot to say. I hope y'all hung in there. If you did, I really, really appreciate it. Bye, guys. Go out there and make it happen.